Have you ever felt a little bit confused with this whole notion regarding time in relation to your manifestations? A lot of you feel like you're in some sort of cosmic queue at the moment, waiting for your turn, whilst everyone else seems to be manifesting their desires much quickly. Oh, you could just check on Instagram and there's Becky, she just posted up that she's manifested a mansion and a new car and a soulmate and $1 million all before lunch. And meanwhile, all your visualizations and your affirmations, even meditating constantly like you're some sort of monk on acid, just hasn't been helping you. And it's frustrating, right? Isn't it? We can't help but compare. We can't help but question ourselves if things are starting to take a little bit longer to come to fruition. Many of us have been through that, even I myself, but I know you guys are going through it quite a lot, because in a world of oversaturation of information and easy accessibility to a lot of this information as well, it can be easy to get derailed and misunderstand the core concepts here. But you know how I work. You know that I will always give you the cold, harsh truth of it all based on my years of experience. And in this channel, I'm dedicated to showing you that less is more when it comes to manifesting. As you know, I'm a lazy manifester. I'm always going to go with the quickest, most effective approach. As someone who has a busy life and a busy schedule and loves to enjoy life, I don't want to keep on doing techniques all day long, tirelessly doing affirmations all the time, 369 methods of scripting, and have this structure where I'm doing techniques all day. That's not for me. And if you're of the same mindset and you're looking for similar to essentially get fast results with less work, then you're in the right place, because less effort really does lead to faster results. It really is effective as well. I have proven it numerous times, as you know, through my own success stories. I'm not just saying it. And for those of you who want to have success with the least amount of effort, then feel free to join our tribe here. You're all VIP members on this channel. Remember that. I'm not paywalling any of the information here. There's no membership. You're all VIP. You're all members, and you're all part of this family. And I'm going to delve into all of your worries and concerns. We're going to break it down, so by the end of it, you are going to be so clued up about this whole concept of time. You're not going to be doubting and questioning yourself, and you're not going to fall victim to the endless advice that you're not doing enough. If you haven't manifested it in 20 days, then you're not doing enough to get it. Then you're not doing enough techniques. Then you're doing something wrong. In this video, I'm going to delve into your most common questions and worries, actually, based on, we're going to demystify the concept of time and how it affects your manifestation. We're going to explore whether believing your manifestation comes quickly actually speeds up the process, or is this a myth? We're going to discuss manifesting on a deadline, because of course that catches everyone out. We're also going to look at examining ways that you can speed things up. And I'm going to uncover the truth, delving into instant manifestations. Plus, you stay with me as well through this video. I'm going to give you the steps to make handling all of this much easier. I'm going to delve into the ancient wisdom, modern science, and a little sprinkle of fun, because that's what it's all about on this channel. So sit back, relax, grab yourself a hot drink, everybody. And thank you, by the way, for those of you who were watching my last video and I was saying, what was I drinking? Rooibos. I was calling it Rooibos tea. My South African friends, thank you so much. It was Rooibos? Did I pronounce that okay? Rooibos tea, which I'm drinking today, which is absolutely delicious. You would think at this point that I have been, what's the word? Like sponsored by Rooibos, which means red bush. It's the Afrikaans word for red. I did not know this. Thank you everyone for teaching me. So cheers. Very, very, very nice. So thank you for that. Also, we have our new little member here as well. My little yawny companion. This is my toy from childhood. Is anyone in this audience old enough to remember these yawnies? The idea is that they yawn, and it makes you yawn, and then it makes you tired, and then you just fall asleep together. So little Yawny is going to join the party with Dino and Cedric. There you go. Friday shenanigans on the go. I'm going to be throwing a load of juicy gems in this video, actually, so you might want to start collecting them like Sonic the Hedgehog collecting coins, or golden rings. Golden rings. I should know this. I grew up playing Mega Drive like all my life. Does anyone have this Sega Mega Drive? I might still have it, actually. Retro, I know. So let's jump right in, shall we? Now, let's start with one of those really common frustrations that people have. It's that belief of, as a divine being. I mean, many of you were told, right, you're God, you're perfect, right? So if I'm God and I'm perfection and all the rest of it, and I'm this divine being in human form, then I should be able to control time. And it's tempting to think that way, isn't it? But time as we experience it, it's all a tricky beast. You see, have any of you heard of that saying that time flies when you're having fun? I'm sure you have. It's not just a cute phrase, it's actually based in science. Albert Einstein, who is a man who is very much smarter than our collective overthinking is, he had said that the distinction between present, past, and future is only a stubbornly persistent illusion. So from a quantum physics standpoint, we understand that time is not about flowing in a linear fashion. It's actually all happening simultaneously. And I believe that it's us that's sort of moving through at one time point to another. But in our human experience, of course, we perceive time in a very linear basis. You've got seconds ticking by, days turning into nights. And the truth is, time doesn't pass in the way that we think that it does. It's not something that is outside of ourselves, out of our control, ticking away like it's some sort of bomb about to blow up, you know. It's actually all based on our perception. Like everything in this life, it's all happening through us. It's all through our perception. It's all mental. Let me prove it to you. I know everyone has been in this situation before. You've been in a staff meeting, and that last half hour of the staff meeting, it just dragged. It's so boring. Or maybe it was a Zoom call. It was just so boring. It's Friday. You want to go out. You want to party. You want to chill. And you're counting down the clock and you're like, oh my God, you know, this half hour is just going so slow. How about, in contrast to that, you go on holiday, your favorite destination, sun, sand, sea, you're having the best time, a week away. And then it finishes and you're just like, did I even go away? It was over in the blink of an eye. It's the same clock, right? But a very, very different experience, which shows that time is based on our perception of it. And so if that is the case, if time is experienced differently based on our focus around it, then what does this mean for your manifestations? Well, this might surprise you, but it actually means that waiting is a state of mind. It's not a real thing. How does that make you feel, right? Waiting is just a state of mind. It's not a real thing. So I'm going to just delve into why forcing things doesn't work. Because I've seen this enough in the comments of my videos and from what you guys have shared with me, that when I have talked about some of my manifestations that might have taken a while, a few of you have said, okay, you know, why is that? Did you maybe not imagine enough? Did you not do enough techniques, right? That's what I normally get asked if I was doing something wrong, questioning why. And it's that mentality that makes me see what is happening in this community. A total misunderstanding, actually, of what time is in relation to your manifestation. So it's not about doing more. If something is taking a while, then essentially the more that we do to try and speed things up, the more that we intentionally get in our way, the more we actually slow things down. So if you are someone that truly believes that if you crank up the manifestation techniques to 11 and tirelessly keep up with the affirmations, keep up with the scripting until your hand cramps, you know, keep up with micromanaging every single thought that you have in the belief that this is going to speed things up, then you're going to find you're met with a hell of a lot of resistance. Remember, you're dealing with the universe, right? So the universe doesn't need to be told a million times. This is the manifestation equivalent of you pressing the lift or elevator, for my American friends. We're pressing the elevator button over and over again to try and speed things up. Do you think that's going to make it come any faster when we do that? It's not the gym, you know. We're not manifesting faster by sweating harder, by trying harder, by putting in the effort for it. In fact, over-efforting causes resistance instead of flow. I've spoken about this in more detail in my video about letting go and getting into that state of flow. But let me explain here why as well. Manifestation, as you all know, is fundamentally about being the person who has a desire now by aligning your inner state with the reality that you desire, using whichever technique you prefer to use. And when you're constantly doing techniques, so if you're constantly doing the technique, if the technique is designed to take you from A to B, to take you from being to not being, the whole time that we're doing techniques, we're in a process of becoming. That's not the same as being it now. I'm in the process of becoming that, which means I'm not that yet, right? And that's why I'm still doing the techniques, which therefore reinforces the absence of my desire. Simply the act of doing techniques all the time is a reinforcement of that absence. It's all dependent on the mindset that you're going into it with. You're essentially broadcasting a message that I don't have what I want yet, and I've got to work harder to make it happen because I don't have it, I'm not it yet. Take this example, if you will, as well, because another thing that we have to consider is laws of nature too. Now, imagine you're manifesting the birth of a healthy baby, whether you're the one having it, or if you're the husband, then you're watching your wife having your baby, having your child, right? Now, no amount of affirmations or scripting or visualizing is going to reduce the natural gestation period from 9 months to 2 months. It's just not going to happen. We have to also consider that nature has its own rhythms and cycles, and that operates beyond our attempts to force them. So consider this as well. True transformation, it often occurs in moments of intense emotional impact, right? So we can understand that, okay, nature needs to take its course. And also, how long is it taking me to shift state? Like I said, the whole time I'm doing techniques, then I'm not it. I'm in a state of becoming it. But you see, it's not about doing loads of techniques all the time. It's about finding the right technique that causes enough of an impact on you that change is instant. Think about events in your life that have profoundly changed you. How many times did they need to happen in order to profoundly change you? A traumatic incident, for example, that altered your perspective, instantly altered your persona and your reactions to life, that happened once. What about a moment of unexpected joy that lifted your spirits beyond measure, that remains in your psyche for years to come? What about falling in love? A single encounter, a single experience of falling in love with someone changes your world entirely. Your mood, everything shifts and changes. And these peak emotional experiences rewire your beliefs and behaviors in an instant. It doesn't require thousands of repetitions, does it? It just requires a profound emotional connection. This is what we're looking for. Neuroscience backs this up as well. Highly emotional events activates the amygdala. That's the part of the brain responsible for processing emotions and storing emotional memories. And this activation enhances the encoding of these experiences into long-term memory, leading to rapid and lasting change. A lot of things actually that I remember, if I think about it, are things that were really great, happy events, and things that were not so great as well, just stick in your memory, really do impress upon you. Dr. Bruce Lipton, who's a renowned cell biologist and author of The Biology of Belief, he explains as well that the subconscious mind doesn't respond to mindless repetition. It actually responds to powerful emotionally charged experiences. It's the emotion that imprints a belief into the subconscious. So we don't need to keep on doing techniques to speed things up. First of all, if it's going to take 9 months to manifest, it's going to take 9 months to manifest no matter what. And really all I have to do is focus on finding a technique and a method that helps me to shift my state instantly and easily. That's why we're studying different modalities to use on myself as well as my clients, because I'm too lazy. I don't want to do loads of techniques all day, every day. I want fast results. I want to just do it a couple of times and have that switch. And I also understand that it's coming at it from different ways. You have a better chance of doing that, right? Because it's not just one size fits all. So when it comes to manifestation, don't worry about continuously repeating it, and that's the reason why you're doing it wrong, because you haven't repeated it enough, and that's why it's taking so long, right? It's not about repetition, it's about the authenticity behind what you're doing. You know, emotions are the key drivers of our subconscious programming. You want imagery with a feeling. Feeling is the secret in all of this, but it doesn't necessarily mean heightened emotions. It could be that of peace and content, right? But it's a feeling of acceptance that it's done. Overloading on techniques can actually have the opposite, like I said to you before, because you're constantly trying. It's reaffirming your lack for it, because if you are something, you're not having to constantly remind yourself that you are it. You just are it. And that being, that sense of being, is what helps to form a detachment to the outside world. So then we're not noticing time. And that's why even my manifestations that took years didn't feel like they took years. I wasn't sitting there waiting for it, because I am something now. And every day that passed was a step closer towards that. And I just felt it within me. Does this make sense? This is why we don't worry so much with time. This is why impatience is not really an issue when you've changed your state. So look to enjoy the present moment more, for those of you who find yourself obsessing about time and the outside world. Because like I say, if we do that, we're inadvertently sitting there in the Zoom meeting, clock watching, and my God, it's just going to drag. Now, as Eckhart Tolle had said, the power for creating a better future is contained in the present moment. You create a good future by creating a good present. That's what he said, create a good future by creating a good present. So what are you doing in the meantime now? You've done your techniques, right? You've accepted this is who you are. What are you doing in the meantime now? You've got other goals, other desires, hang with your friends, do fun things, you know. This is what your days should be filled with, enjoying the present moment rather than anticipating and waiting and worrying about the future. Now let's talk about instant manifestation. And I know, again, as this idea of if we're God, divine beings, you know, you're told like, oh, you're perfect, you're God, and all the rest of it, right? So why can't we? If that's true, why can't we control time then? Now, here's the thing, manifestation actually is instant in terms of when you shift your state of being. That moment, things are happening instantly. That moment, your world looks completely different. Your perception shifts. Even if your reality hasn't changed all that much, you've manifested internally. You've essentially in that moment put on like a new pair of glasses, and suddenly, wow, my reality looks completely different. This is me quantum shifting. The external reflection of what you desire, the external reflection of that shift can be so instant, can be so drastic. Sometimes though, it can seem to take its time. But manifestation in itself is not actually measured by time. It's not measured by days and weeks. So if people say, oh, your manifestation shouldn't be taking you 21 days. You're doing something wrong. It shouldn't be taking you a year. You're doing something wrong. The thing is, we don't measure manifestation by days, weeks, months, years. Anyway, it's measured by the number of events that need to unfold. Listen to me, it's measured by the number of events that need to unfold. You have to think of this as a domino effect, okay? One event is going to lead to another, and this sets the stage for your desire to manifest in the most harmonious, the most fastest way possible. Always. That's why we don't worry about the how. That's taken care of. You just decide what it is that you want and embody that. And the moment of embodiment is the moment that that sequence of events starts to unfold, and then you receive it in the physical world. People have denied the bridge of events, which is very, very interesting. And I don't know how you possibly could. We can't deny, can we, that when I set an intention, I'm not just going to suddenly wake up in a mansion, for example, right? If I set an intention to live in a mansion, then probably for a while I'll be waking up in my own bed, but there'll be things going on behind the scenes and things going on in my life and things going on internally that are going to bring this to fruition. That's the bridge of events. So I can only assume when people deny that there is a bridge of events, that they're essentially denying that there is any bridge from the mental realm to the physical realm, which is interesting. So I don't know if that means that they believe that it happens just like that, like pulling a rabbit out of a hat, like a magic show. That's why I always say, to me, manifestation is not magic, because that's what magic means to me. It's miraculous, it's incredible. It's not a magic trick that I'll close my eyes and bam, there it is, right? Denying a bridge of events to me is like, you're reading a book without turning its pages. or you're watching a movie but it doesn't have any scenes in it. So even the most gripping stories unfold one chapter at a time. The story, the journey through which these events unfold, it doesn't just lead to the conclusion. It's all about an enriching experience. That's why living for the present is so important as well, because this journey from A to B, i.e. this journey from impression to your manifestation, however many events it takes to get there, is all part of shaping you, helping you to grow, to become the person that has, so that when you receive your desire, especially if you've occupied the end state effectively, you receive that and it's for keeps. It's not something you're just going to lose. As Neville eloquently put it, problems are the mountain peaks of experiences, and without them, how would you understand the joy of success? Neville's words. Now, the good thing is, and I'm always realistic with you guys, the good thing is you can make your story or your movie a bit shorter. You can do that. Like I said, we don't worry about the how or the when, but there is something worth considering here. Now, your beliefs, they can accelerate or delay. The bridge of events, for example, the bridge from A to B that needs to unfold. For example, if I believe that, I want to buy a house, like I want to embody buying my dream home. But my belief is the only way to get that dream home is that I've got to work hard, I've got to save up for however many years, then inadvertently I've created a longer bridge for myself. It's like I'm telling the universe, or I'm setting off this energy that I'm in expectancy that this is going to take a long time, it's going to take years. But you see, I'm thinking in that moment from a limited mindset, from that of a human being, rather than through the divine unlimited within me. So try to get out of old thinking patterns. A lot of my clients state to themselves, well, I can't have my relationship yet. Like, I've got to heal, and I've got so much trauma to heal from, and I've got so many wounds that I need to get over before I can have this relationship. And it's just like, hang on, you're forgetting that love is unconditional. Hang on, how many people do you know on this planet are 100% healed, no trauma, no wounds, living life, gliding along effortlessly? No one. And yet there's billions of people who are having healthy long-term relationships. It's not about you need to heal. That's a limiting belief. That's a condition you put in the way of your desire. So you can be aware of these conditions that you've set for yourself, and you can change them in order to gift yourself a smoother, faster bridge. That is something that you can do. Remember, your subconscious does not differentiate between reality and what you vividly imagine. It just accepts what you feed it. And so you can feed it a new belief in a way that it will accept, and understand as well that whatever you're imagining, it's all now. Everything is now. Everything is accessible now. That's the only language that my subconscious speaks in anyway. It's accepting it as a now thing. But in the meantime, yes, you can check your beliefs, and then you can work on the ones that are potentially gifting you a long bridge of events. So that's a way to speed things up. But really, ideally, I don't want you to be obsessing about that and seeing all the ways you can speed things up, because the way to manifest in the shortest amount of time is by going within and cultivating the right state of mind, allowing your desires to unfold in perfect timing. Because no matter what you do, if you're not occupying the right state of mind, then you're never going to realize your desire. So you've got to put your focus and attention on occupying the right state. When we rely on external timelines to validate our desires, and when we're obsessing about the 3D conforming, obsessing about time, then what you've done in that moment is you've essentially handed your power to something outside of you. That's what you've done. You're saying, I'm not this until this happens. But all of you have a name. All of you believe that you are the name that you have, right? I am Kate, I am Sarah, I am John, I am Athena, whatever. It's not really our name, it's just a label we've gifted ourselves, a concept of self. But do I cease to be Athena on the days that nobody calls me by name? What about if someone calls me by the wrong name? What if someone calls you by the wrong name? Do you cease to be it? Do you need that external validation? No. You've already decided for yourself, this label is yours, right? So do that with your desires as well. Create that concept of self, which is essentially a label, an idea. Gift it to yourself and own it, no matter what, so that you're not dependent on the ticking clock. You're not a slave to time in all of this. Remember, true manifestation is about inner transformation. And the way that I see manifestation, you know, based on years of experience and seeing how this works, I would sum it up to a sentence of: manifestation is not about making the outside world change. It's about changing our inner world so profoundly that the outer world has no choice but to reflect it. That's always how I see it. You're giving the outside world no choice but to reflect who you are, because that's all it can do. Everything is happening through you, through your perception. That's all it can do. And by shifting your state, you're no longer dependent on the outside world for that validation. And you know what that does? Gives you the freedom. That's why shift your state before anything. Focus on your state. Don't focus on time. Don't focus on your state of mind. Now, what about if you're manifesting on a deadline? Because some of you are, right? You might have, I don't know, exam results or something like that you need to manifest by. The thing is, though, some of you are setting deadlines that don't need to be there. And when you set a rigid deadline, like I want my SP to come in by Valentine's Day, which, get ready guys, because you're going to see all the Valentine's Day videos coming out, aren't you? Get your SP by Valentine's Day. That's a very popular thing, and that can derail a lot of people. If you are manifesting a relationship with an SP, don't worry about Valentine's Day. You just see that long-term relationship, and then you're going to have all the Valentine's Day together that you want. Okay, don't focus on just get them by this deadline. But the thing is, with deadlines, it does put unnecessary pressure on yourself. And I must admit, even from my personal experience, if I have put a forced deadline on myself, then I have really struggled to shift my state. That is not creating a fertile soil for seeds to be planted, right? Remember what we said about intrusive negative thoughts. A lot of the reason why many of them do not manifest is because you don't have that calm state of mind for impression. You're not creating that fertile ground. Plus, if you start doing deadlines on your manifestations, what do you think will happen when the desire hasn't materialized in time? You're likely to spiral into doubt and frustration, and this just pushes things further away from you, right? We don't need to cause extra frustration in this journey. Remember, you don't control time, but you influence your experience through the state of being. So by fixating on a deadline, you're potentially trying to micromanage the universe. So if there is a deadline, like I say, your exams, or what I had happened to me once, whereby I didn't have enough money for my mortgage. There was 2 months where I was in a real state, you know, everything had changed in my world, and I was going through this shift. I didn't know how I was going to pay November's mortgage. I didn't know how I was going to pay December's mortgage, right? And I couldn't focus on that. I must manifest getting the money by this time. I just accepted it was going to happen, because I occupied my end state. My end state was that of success, financial abundance, that of course I'm going to keep this house. I did not see it any other way. And that's when my very first SP, who is still in my life to this day, like I say, you know, came in and helped me out with that month's mortgage. And then the second, the December's mortgage payment, again, client from out of nowhere gave me the money from it, right? It's an old friend of mine I've known for over a decade. Started off as a client, like just amazing, out of the blue. I didn't ask, I didn't say anything, didn't do anything. It was just the bridge of events unfolded perfectly. So if you have a desire that's meant to be met by a specific deadline, it will be. It's never ever late. That vision has its appointed hour. It will ripen, it will flower. If it be long, then wait, for it is sure and it will not be late. Never ever is it late. Keep that in mind. In the Kabbalah, there's a concept called Tiferet. That explains the harmony and the beauty when you're balancing kindness and judgment, mercy and discipline. You know, it's about aligning with the flow of life rather than forcing anything. And forcing a manifestation to fit into your schedule, it's going to throw you out of that harmonious state that we're trying to achieve. How many of you have noticed that, though, that when you do set yourself a deadline, it just causes you a lot more anxiety? Whereas if you just focus on, let me occupy the state, let me just push the time factor and the deadlines out, let me just occupy the state, then you just free yourself up from deadlines and anxiety. So, how can you make peace with time in general. Like I say, you've got a better understanding of time now, I should think, right? You probably thought of manifestations. Well, this is getting you to think of manifestations in different ways, getting you to see that you're not necessarily doing anything wrong if it takes a long time, and that as long as you're in the right state of being, you're not necessarily doing anything wrong if it takes a year, and doing more does not equal getting it faster. If it's got to take 9 months, then it's going to take 9 months no matter what you do. And just understanding time is about perception. But how can we sort of make peace with it? How can we step into that flow state whereby we can yield more with less effort? That's what I'm about, right? So number one, like I said before, you can start to challenge some of those limiting beliefs that could potentially be causing an elongated bridge. So if I believe, like I said to you before, that I have to do X, Y, and Z and all of these steps before I can have my desire, and that's my belief, my bridge is going to reflect that to me. Whereas if I step out of that, looking at life through that limited human perception, and if I just open myself up to possibility, then you could be surprised. Instead of having to save up for a house, maybe you inherit a house, maybe you win a house, right? So think about that and start to challenge these beliefs. You're the master of your reality here. Number two, shift your state. Your focus is always, always on embodying the feeling of your desire fulfilled. As Neville has often said, you assume the feeling of your wish being fulfilled. That's where your focus and attention always goes. That's all we need to do. That's all we need to worry about. Assume it, embody it, own it, get on with your life. Number three, release the urgency if you can, because urgency is stemming from lack. The whole time you have this urgency, right? If I need something or want for something to happen, then I'm not it. I'm still needing that external validation. You will find yourself a bit more detached from the external validation. I mean, trust me, it is nice to have it. Of course it is. You want the external validation. That's why we're here. But you're not dependent on it completely. So you want to try and feel that abundance now. You want to try and embody that now. That's why I keep getting you guys to share your success stories, even if it was before you knew about the law. In fact, that's my challenge to you today. Share your success stories in the comments below. Enough of this pussyfooting around. We're going to do this, right? My aim is for all of you to get success, like I keep saying. And I'm getting inspired to do and say different things now to get you that success. So those of you who are still here, comment below a success story of yours that you had before you knew about the law. Doesn't matter how big or small you think it is, a success story is a success story. And I want you to see, were you doing more to try and get, were you doing all of these techniques to try and change things? Were you going with the flow of life? Were you worrying about time frame? Or were things just happening? So number three, that was number three. Number four, start to trust in the process. That's why I want you guys to share your successes, because I want you to see that everything was taken care of. Understand that events are aligning in your favor. As soon as you shift state, your perception changes. And as soon as your perception changes, or at least even if you don't realize your perception has changed all that much, immediately that bridge of events has been formed. You're on it immediately from the get-go. No waiting. It is instant. But some of the stuff that's happening is behind the scenes. Watch my video on no movement, and that will make you feel better about that as well, right? True transformation is an art. It's not a gimmick. And I've always, as you know, believed in empowering you to become the master of your fate rather than dangling unrealistic promises. I'm here to provide you with the tools and insights to navigate your journey. Not making you dependent on external solutions, but trusting more in your power within, because you've all got this. I've met so many of you, incredible beings. Like I say, your successes inspire me half the time. So if this process and this stuff that I'm teaching you resonates with you, if you're ready to ditch the endless techniques, if you're ready to just step into the state of ease and flow, then welcome to the tribe. They're here, effortless, lazy manifesting all the way to your end result. And I'm going to prove it to you. Hard work don't work. Hard work don't work, And I've proven this enough times. even my job, where I was earning so much more and doing less work. I mean, that was brilliant. But hard work don't work. That's the old programming, okay? Less is more. Trust in yourself and your power. I really hope that this helps you out. Feel free to continue to share your success stories. Everything is in the description box below. Go and check out my website. Go and check out those incredible success stories. See if people were forcing it. See the different timelines as well, how long it took for people. Understand that as soon as they shifted their state, a lot of things happened in the meantime. And you've not been on this journey as long as you think you have. Trust me. Anyway, all the love to you guys. Happy Friday, and I'll see you in the next video.